What's up, y'all? Love Dawn here. Thank you so much for checking out my videos, Meals for Moms. Today we're going to do a homemade clam chowder. I'm so ready. It's rainy outside. Soup always do the job. Let's get started. Alright, so we got our scorching hot pan here. I like the pan hot because once we put in the vegetables, it's going to cool down dramatically. So we're going to start with putting in 3 cloves of fresh garlic chopped. And I'm going to put in about a tablespoon of chopped garlic that was in a jar. But I like to have fresh garlic in this dish as well. So I'm going to grab that. Alright, so we got our fresh garlic in. See, it's immediately sizzling, but the pan is really hot. So now I'm going to get a spoon of chopped garlic to put in there. I'm going to add my carrots. Now my green pepper and my celery. Okay, so I'm going to give this a stir. Let that pick up that nice garlic flavor before I add in my onions. So this is going to saute for maybe about 3 to 5, maybe about 3 minutes before I add in my onions. So let's let this do what it do. Okay, so now that it has cooked down just a little and picked up some of that pan roasted garlic flavor, I'm going to add in my onion. Okay, sorry for the shaking now. And I'm making a big pot of soup, so you may not need all of these vegetables, but that's how I like it. Stir that in. Then we're going to add in our potatoes. I'm using red new potatoes. All in. Okay. So we're going to stir this up with our vegetables pretty good. Then we're going to season with salt, pepper, and onion powder. So right now, salt, pepper, and onion powder to start. So let me finish stirring this, add in my seasonings, be right back. Alright, so we have our potatoes and all our veggies in with salt and pepper and onion powder, and I also put a little garlic. Even though we had fresh garlic, I did use the garlic seasoning. So we're going to keep this on about a medium. We're going to cover it, let the potatoes continue to cook down, and then we're going to start our roux. Okay, so for our roux, which is our thickening for our soup, we're going to start with a stick of butter and a half a cup of flour. Now, we're going to stir this with a whisk, and it's going to become pretty thick. 1 second, because I dropped my whisk. So it's going to become pretty thick, but you're going to keep stirring. If you need to add more fat, which is the butter that we're using for this, you can always add more fat. So as I stir all this in completely, you see it's already starting to thicken up and give you that blonde color, because we're going to use a blonde roux. That's what it's called. Then you know what you're going for. You don't want to burn your flour. Keep that in mind. I'll probably add a little bit more, maybe about another tablespoon of butter in here, and I'll show you what it looks like in a second. Okay, so I added about 2 tablespoons of butter to my roux. Now the difference between this roux and the other thickeners I have used before, which is another form of roux, is I would do the flour and water, and I would add it to my hot dish. But I decided to do this differently. First of all, it gives more flavor because we're using fat. Fat, which is the butter, is always better than water. And all you do is, like I said, add the same amount of fat to the amount of flour. And you're going to add cold chicken stock, chicken broth, whatever you have, to this. It doesn't have to be freezing cold, but it's just not going to be warm. You remember when we did the flour and water, that was cold, and we add that to a hot dish. So you either want to add hot to cold or cold to hot. So since this roux is hot, we're going to pour in cold chicken broth. And we're going to keep stirring this around in the pan till it gets a little darker in color. But actually, it's pretty blonde now. You want to do a blonde roux. This is what you would start sometimes. This is they use this if they want to do a bechamel, which is a white sauce. Any type of sauce that uses a thick enough, creamier. You want a creamier sauce. This is probably a better bet to take in your meal. So I'm gonna let this go for about another minute or two. Then I'll come back when I'm ready to pour in the chicken stock. So let's check on our potatoes. So let's take a peek at our. Ooh, that looks delicious. Oh, can y'all see that? Because I saw that steam come up. Cooking down pretty good over here. So we're going to keep letting this cook on. And we're going to keep letting our roux continue to brown. And be right back. Alright. So our potatoes is nice and cooked down. Our veggies softening up. Sorry for the smoke. To let you know we're doing some real cooking in here. Delicious. And the smell, you can't beat that. As you can see, our colors of our vegetables kind of change slightly, if you can see it. I'm sorry because of the smoke. If you can see it, let me wait for it to go. There you go. The colors kind of change slightly because it cooked down, but it's going to be a soup, so you kind of want it soft and not with the bite that it would have to stay that bright greenish color. But we still have our orange and green and all the different colors for our soup in there. So let's get to our roux. Okay, so we have our flour and butter cooked down here to the color I would like it to be, which is now a blonde roux. And we're going to pour some chicken broth, not a lot, because this is just to get it thinned out. That's enough. Thinned out to go inside of our soup. Pour some more. You see how fast it comes? Similar to that gravy. Stop. Okay, so we're going to stir this down and get it to the consistency that we would like it. And you can always add more, or you can leave it thick because it's going to go inside of the soup and it will thin more as well. But right now we just want to get those lumps and bumps out of it before we add it to our soup. So I think that's enough for the broth to start. You those yellow specks that you see, butter, all flavor on top of flavor on top of flavor. So you got butter and flour for the thickener and chicken broth to break it up, flavor on top of flavor. So I'll be back. I'll show you how to add this to our soup when we're ready. But for right now, our roux is ready to go. Okay, so for our next step of our soup, we're going to add clam juice to this. Now, I had some clam juice in the containers that the clams came in, so I'm going to use that first. And you're just going to try to pour it in without letting the clams get in your dish, but it's not going to kill it if it do. But I don't want it in yet because clams get rubbery. So yeah, it's kind of hard to get all the juice off, but you can get majority off. But it's all going to go in due time. So I think I got off as much as I can. You see inside the bowl here? Inside of the bowl, that's my clams. That's my clams. It's going to go inside of my dish. See? But I'm going to sit that to the side. And I also have a bottle of clam juice that we're going to add to this dish as well. I just shook it up and got all the stuff at the bottom of the container. I don't know exactly what it is, but it's supposed to be in it. Pretty sure it's just pieces of clam, probably some type of flavor. So now our clam juice is in. We're going to let that come back up to a boil. We're going to add seasons to taste. Now this portion, once you get it back to a boil, you want to start tasting it and see whether or not the amount of seasonings you put on it at first is still good now that you added the juice to your soup. Alright, let's let this cook down some more, come back to a boil. We'll be right back. Okay, so let's get to this soup. Nice bowl here. Now I added a little chicken broth to this so I can have a little bit more soup. And you don't have to add extra chicken broth. You can add more clam juice. For me, it was well over enough clam juice for me. I wanted chicken broth. So now I'm going to add my clams. You add your clams last. Well, not last before you add your thickener and your cream. So the clams are in. Give that a good stir. It shouldn't take the temperature down too much. It should come right back to a boil shortly, because the clams weren't cold, they were room temperature. But while we're letting that come to a boil, we're going to add in some of our roux. And I'm just going to do a dollop for right now of our roux in our sauce. And we're going to let that start stirring around. There we go. Now we're going to use a good amount of this roux. If you don't use all the roux, save it. Use it later. It will break up as soon as it gets in here. As you see, it's already beginning to break up, so we're going to add some more. And we're going to keep doing this till we get the consistency that we want. And keep in mind, we don't want this very, very thick, because you still want it to be a soup. And I'm going to keep adding this, and then I'll show you what it looks like when I'm done. Okay, so I got my thickener in here. I actually switched pots, as you can see, because I wanted it even more juice than what I had. I like mine's nice and creamy. This is not thick. You see here, it's not thick. It's creamy, but it's not thick. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little thyme, a little bit more salt, and a little bit of onion powder to this. The flavor was pretty good, but I just wanted a little bit of extra flavor in here. All right, last but not least, the last thing you want to add into this dish is your cream. You can eat this just like this. Some people eat their clam chowder just like this. I mean, it's delicious. You don't need to add anything, but I do like mine creamy, as I stated. So I'm going to add, for me, half and half, because I don't want it real thick, and the cream gives it more of a sweeter flavor, and I don't want that. So I use half and half for mine. And I'm just going to pour some straight in. Can you see the change of color? Pour a little bit more. There we go. I'm going to let this cook for about another 15-20 minutes to get all the flavors infused in here. But that's it. That's your dish. Homemade clam chowder. Thank y'all for tuning in. Okay, y'all. I'm sorry, but that's delicious. Thank you so much for checking me out. I'm about to finish my dinner. Just keep in mind, in all that you do, always do it with love. You don't know like I know what he's done for me. I can't